are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the municipal center and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Welcome, everybody, to the beginning of summer. So, to be considered, solid waste ordinance. Put that on. Okay. Dr. O'Connor.
All right. So according to my notes with our health inspector, Ruby, she uses something called Chapter 24 of the New Jersey Administrative Code dealing with food establishments for New Jersey, which deals with maintaining refuse in sanitary conditions. But she had informed me that it would assist her if Tenafly had an ordinance that would be in addition to what we have now. This is all stemming from the SGAR situation regarding the rat poison. And what was listed as kind of the first order of business from the Tenafly Nature Center and others is to really lock down your situation with food, with the open dumpsters, and to have an open dumpster ordinance. So I also had learned in my research with her, Jimmy and I had a meeting with her. This also came at the Board of Health meeting. She has not given any fines in years for this situation. Some of you who might want to walk behind any restaurants or something might be noticeable of that. Sometimes she'll give a warning, they'll clean it up. And then, but it just kind of basically, if we're going to ultimately reduce our use of rat poisons, we got to at least really strengthen our ordinance regarding dumpsters. So I'd like to work with our attorney, if council agrees, to develop one for Tenafly. And our health officer, James Fedorko, had given me some other good towns to follow. He liked Fort Lee, and he'd given me some guidance. And he also, Ruby had given me guidance on kind of additions she would like to see, and just to let you all know, things that deal with standing water or standing pools of oil, things like that you might see behind restaurants. And so I brought it up because I would like to know if I could have consensus from council to see if that could be a direction that I might be able to move in with, to have Wendy work on.
My only question is, what do we require now?
So I was told that it should be on the agenda before, because I'd like to have us get an open dumpster ordinance or some dumpster ordinance that Tenafly does not currently have. So in order to work with Wendy, because I know it costs money, to ask for consensus of council. Am I right, Jimmy? Is that how I?
Let me re-ask my question. My question is, what are you looking for? I get that.
An ordinance.
What's the current state of what do we currently require?
We currently have something called Chapter, I think I wrote that, 24 of the New Jersey Administrative Code. We don't have a separate ordinance dealing with dumpsters.
So the Board of Health does not have their own codified ordinances. They follow the state regulations. So
they were saying it helps them if they have.
So and I'm asking for clarification as part of this. Are we looking to put an ordinance under the Board of Health? Because they're an autonomous agency. They can actually pass their own laws, their own ordinances that would then get codified into your book. Or would you prefer to have it as a borough ordinance and code enforcement?
Borough ordinance with code enforcement. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And that's what they think will help them.
So just to clarify, currently it's out of a health side and it's not under is under your borough code if you were to search for receptacles or dumpsters. It's usually more geared in the context of stormwater.
Yeah.
Construction type dumpsters, not necessarily rubbish.
So this is kind of like that first step, and I want to make our fines significant, that we can really get some real enforcements going, because they really have not existed. So yeah, that's what I was asking for.
You said it could be done under health or under code enforcement. Can it be done both ways for manpower?
Like
for
double
enforcement?
protection.
So it can, it's under two separate areas. So you already have the ability to enforce through the Board of Health
Health.
because they go through
State code.
the international state code, the state.
State code, state regs.
Right, so you have that ability ready. It gives them extra power if you also have the ability through coding.
Gotcha.
So that's the ask, Councilman Grossman. So,
I'm
should
just
we
going to ask
hold it?
consensus.
Cool.
Dan, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Let the record reflect that Councilmember Dayton just gave in, so council is bringing her up to speed on the discussion.
My home connection to work, so. Come back to.
Okay, Councilman Menon,
I'm fine with it. I think it's.
I assume you're okay.
I would like to vote yes.
I think anything we can do.
And yeah,
I
Yeah,
always say
yes.
this, though, whether I'm sitting in this chair or the chair over there, all these things are meaningless unless
We enforce.
we enforce it. And one of the things that the public has to remember is that if they see something, they have to call it in.
Say something.
Because there's so many times that people are doing contracting work on Sundays when they shouldn't be. And unless you call it in, they'll continue to do that. All right, so,
Yes,
Council-
I'm fine with moving it forward for.
okay,
Thank you.
we're moving it forward.
So, Wendy, I'll follow up with you and tell you what I've learned from the others.
If I may, I'll echo assistant coordination, so we could.
Thank you. Of course, I always see you.
No, it's like, no, you do. No, just making sure.
And is the bamboo also yours?
That was not, but I was
That was-
reached out.
Yeah,
by
Mayor's in it, so we might want to, I know I believe he can't virtually attend, so that may be worth postponing for the next meeting.
Well, I know we've discussed bamboo ordinances before.
It was updated and he wanted to,
Wait, there's a weird
that's,
feedback.
it's not,
Okay. How about, yeah, how about Renee's?
so my understanding now, the ordinance was recently, somewhat recently updated. And there, I don't want to say complaints coming in, but through neighbors who may want to plant new bamboo or trying to pursue a route to be able to do so that may be somewhat outside of the confines of the ordinance. I don't have all the details, so that's why I don't want to speak to it too much. That's in a nutshell, kind of the details Mayor Zinno was going to provide us to the discussion on this and some of those details.
I actually thought this had been in reference to, because I heard from somebody who was talking about how the bamboo had come into their yard, and I thought this was in reference to that, but it's,
Actually, the opposite of people that wanted it as
oh, okay.
it would be within the buffer. Not currently allowed.
Councilwoman Dayton.
I mean, the entire purpose of the ordinance is that bamboo is an invasive species, not native here. We're, you know, I would hate to go backwards after we actually just passed that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure.
I fully agree, but since this is on the mayor's agenda, I move that we table this to next meeting. Is there a second for
Second.
tabling? All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
See, I do Robert's rules.
And then you have to remember to ask for it to be taken off the table at the next meeting.
Yes.
That's goodness. Never heard that.
Otherwise, it's postponed to the next meeting.
Fair enough. All right. Borough Administrator update.
Yeah, a few items. Bliss Ave for the repair of the culvert, that will begin, the construction work will begin next week, July 6th, July 7th, somewhere in that date they'll begin. And just the full reconstruction and demo and rebuild of the culvert there in the bridge. Right now with the materials and the timeline of materials being delivered, the anticipated completion date has been mid-November.
Mid-November.
That long, well,
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the homeowners over there Many of them, one of the things that I want to be cautious of is many of them are walking to churches and synagogues and religious places. They just want to make sure during construction, there's a safe walking path.
Yeah, so during construction, I believe it's going to be 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
Monday through Friday. That might extend a little bit, an hour or two, depending on the tasks that they may have to complete at the time. We had the pre-construction meeting today, this morning on this, and we informed the contractor and of course our engineers who are always going to, that are always going to be on site during the construction hours, that it is heavily traversed and people now are still, or we're going through barriers and fences. So they are aware to make sure that it's safe and to provide some type of path to be able to traverse through.
Thank you.
But a good opportunity to remind people that it really is not meant for traversing. It's dangerous, and especially if you're walking with little kids, the last thing you want to do is walk through there. There are other streets to go around. Elm is still the major thoroughfare that's open. All right.
Just a few more
Mhm.
items. CSX, so the railroad crossing at River Edge and J Street is scheduled for July 9th. Signs have been posted. So that is anticipated, or it should happen on July 9th, weather permitting is the only item that would push it. And since then, it has been temporarily patched in the meantime, so. Road paving has just begun. The concrete work and milling had just begun. I believe they started today with the milling. So that will continue for the next 2 weeks or so, weather dependent. So right now, roughly 2 weeks for the 12 roads that were approved. Since it did come, the roads that were approved by the mayor and council came in under budget. At the next council meeting, there will be a recommendation for 2 additional roads to be added on as additional roads to be within the full amount allotted for this year for the road improvement program. Right now, they are recommended, they're both red roads, Lylewood Drive and Woodmere Lane. Both the roads are recommended by Andy, the borough engineer, and DPW director, Mike Cassidy. So that will be on officially as a change order at the next meeting.
Excellent, and please thank Andy.
Absolutely. At the next meeting, July 18th, the police department will have the 2 new recruit candidates here for their official swearing-in ceremony. So we're excited for that to happen at the next meeting.
Jimmy, when does academy start for them?
July 20th.
Okay.
And last but not least, a human resources report through Alicia.
Evening, Alicia. How you doing?
I have made a conditional offer of employment for the senior services position with an effective start date of July the 5th. The individual will come to us with 25 years of service dealing with seniors, a master's degree, and a social worker license. For that reason, I am asking for a little bit more than what we're budgeted for. You'll see a resolution attached to your packet. Any questions about that?
So can you just go through the negotiation here on the salary? Because we had a hard salary.
Yes,
Budget.
so, okay, so the budget is for 3184. So we went back and forth probably for about 3 weeks negotiating the pay rate for this individual. So they were asking for $38 per hour, which was way out of budget for us. So I came to meet in the middle. I'm bringing that down to $35 per hour, just based off the credentials and based off the years of experience. I thought that was a good meet in the middle.
What does that come to? Sorry.
63.7.
We're not, it's not in front of me. Why isn't it? Can't seem to click on my agenda. It's 36,
63.7.
63.7, it doesn't make any sense.
63K.
You won $63,000.
Remember, this is a part-time position,
Oh, I did.
This is a part-time.
part-time,
35.
20 hours per week.
Yeah, I'm like,
My
that doesn't
bad.
make
Does
any
not
sense.
come
I
with,
did 35. My
yeah,
bad.
so you cut that in half.
Alicia, it might be helpful to also include the current rate.
The current rate is 31.84.
This is going to 36.4. It's 35 an hour.
And she was,
What's
the
the total?
candidate was
Tell me
asking
per
for
hour.
$38 per hour.
Tell me the total salary for the year. I can't do per hour. I can't do, whether that were,
36.4.
okay. I want to say, first of all, thank you to Alicia because she did an outstanding job. I got to be in these interviews and through this process. And again, as our HR director, she was fantastic. And I just want to, again, thank her. I also got to meet this candidate. First of all, this is to replace our senior services coordinator. This is for the more homebound seniors, the seniors that need significant help, resources, knowledge base, that are having, need memory care, need health care, need, just home care. This is a very, I would say challenging and, really needing a fantastic employee. The candidate that we considered, I would say fit that bill amazingly. I felt super lucky that she was interested in the position. So in that case, I would recommend that we strongly consider meeting her salary needs. She was well degreed. She had significant, like 25 years of experience in social work with seniors specifically, because we got a lot of social work, but not,
The license, she actually have her social worker license. And I also took a step and checked her background to make sure there are no infractions on her current license and that it's actually active, because you can have your license and it can be inactive.
right?
So I already checked her credentials.
I will just say, she also, Parween, our outgoing senior services person, felt that she had the right demeanor and tone to interact and support our senior community, which I thought was very important.
Right. I mean, I was just going to ask, about the outgoing senior services.
Last day is July 1st.
But what is, in terms of qualifications, what were her qualifications? Yeah, I know it's kind of a.
She has the master's degree and she also has the actual social worker license.
Pauline had that, or the prior social services.
She has the exact same qualifications as Parween.
Oh, okay.
What was Parween making?
31.84.
Oh, she was making. Did that contribute to her leaving?
No, absolutely not.
So one
Let's
thing
not
is,
discuss.
Yeah. But in general, is this the going rate then?
Julie,
Yes, if you, in addition to that, I also.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a smart girl. Sorry.
So Council, Dr. O'Connor, I didn't really have much to compare it to based off other municipalities, but I did do a survey of what the going rate is for this type of position. And it's, again, a fair amount, meeting in the middle is 35 is more than fair.
There you go.
Yes.
If there are no other questions, anything else to report?
I apologize. Alicia, you might want to include also that this was also in conjunction with the senior services or the senior center committee, senior services committee as well, that I met with them through the interview process.
Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, so the interviews were in conjunction with the Senior Service Committee, the entire committee, Councilwoman Dayton. I kept everybody involved, whether that was in person or email, so they were very pleased with the candidate.
that's great. She was a lucky time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else for your report?
Just one other item for an update on the electric vehicle charging stations RFP. Borough Attorney Wendy and I had a phone call with the borough engineer to pretty much to move on and gather further details and clarifications for the RFP. So at this point, it's, if you want to.
yeah, so one thing that we were struggling with is what exactly is going to, what exactly the borough wants to see. We did speak with the council, you had your discussion, and the idea was to look, not, at that time, the discussion was more based cost. So to open it as a concession service where we're providing the land, they're providing the service, and that's the type of procurement that was authorized. We're still looking to move in that same path. We just wanted to update you that after consultation with the borough engineer, we feel that it we are going to, if it's okay with the council, add an evaluation criteria to the specs that they propose, the actual specifications that they would like to put in on the borough property. So instead of us saying this exact spec of a charger in this location, whatnot, leaving it a little bit more open and then including one of the electrical engineers from the borough engineer as part of the evaluation team in order to evaluate that criteria as well. This way, the fear was that this technology moves so quickly. By the time we're all up to speed on what that technology is for the specs, we're going to be outdated.
That sounds like a really good addition to the criteria because it is exactly like that. We could be possibly saying something that is going to stop every group from attempting to put in a proposal because we got something wrong, and you know.
And another really great recommendation from the engineer was also to include within the specifications that the equipment would be removed at the end of the life of the contract, assuming that way you'll always be able to have the most up-to-date equipment if you wanted to go out to bid and continue the program.
Didn't we have something in that though regarding?
So he's going to give me more specific language.
Okay, because I thought it was about.
That was our intent. So tomorrow, Andy's supposed to be sending me more specific language of the point from this point to this point remains that point to the next point.
I see. Well, yeah, Dan was also on the subcommittee with me. Sounds good to me, that addition. What do you think? He's good.
Agreed.
So for borough administrator, just a question on the county grant. What's the status, or when will we hear?
I mean, for the skate park property?
I could get an update. I know those usually take a few months, but I could ask and see what a general time frame for response is. Absolutely.
I think it's November, what I recall. Give or take.
I still implore,
Late November, early December, usually.
Something like that for open space.
I still implore this council to do a public survey for what should be on that land.
And-
Let the residents speak.
And I would say,
Engineer report.
suggest that it's not the skate park, it's the, it's the
property.
pool property,
Right, where we're putting a skate park.
where we're putting a skate park along with several other things.
All right, this has been discussed a number of times. This is not right now. That's not the agenda item. Anything else on the administrator report?
That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right. At this time, audience members wishing to speak, public comment, will have a 3-minute time limit to address the governing body, items on the committee of the whole agenda. If there's a large group, boy, they're all sitting out there, all 100 of them. If there's a large group, please have a spokesperson represent that group. Is there anybody who wishes to speak? Don't see anybody in here. Omar, do you see anybody out in?
If anybody would like to make a public comment, please speak up. Okay, I see no comments here, Council President.
Seeing none, hearing none. Let's move on. Resolutions. Does anybody have any questions or comments about any of the resolutions? Councilman Menon.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. There are a number of resolutions relating to the trees, and just wanted to bring to everybody's attention that we changed the fee structure for the mitigation of the trees to a higher amount. Some of the resolutions still have the lower amount, even though there are a significant number of trees. So for example, one of the resolutions has 33 trees and $8,250, which comes out to $250 per tree. Unfortunately, those were collected, the escrow amounts were collected prior to the ordinance, the new change in ordinance coming into effect. The other question I might have, and maybe either the borough administrator or maybe the clerk can just explain what the sidebar, plenary retail consumption license is about, so that the public is aware.
Okay, so, with Sidebar, they hadn't renewed their liquor license from previous years, from 2014 to the present. So they had to take necessary steps for the liquor license to be current. And as per the ABC, to allow the liquor license to be current, there had to be a separate resolution for each year that the term was expired. And that kind of shows that necessary steps were made by the licensee to keep the license current.
Just a question, by not having it in prior years, are there any effects, any impact legally or in any other way?
No, not at this time. What happened was, the licensee will have to go before the ABC director requesting for a special ruling. And the licensee was granted special ruling based on the criteria that the director of the ABC deemed that the licensee was I would say completed certain tasks as far as paying the municipal fee and paying the state fee, and also receiving tax clearance for those years.
So I have a question. Are you? Mr. Song is here. Hey, Jimmy. Nice to see you. I see your name. And my request is that we let the plenary retail consumption license, which is essentially a liquor license. I'm very interested in this being used and not kept inactive. You know, we in these small towns, we only have so many of these liquor licenses. I've been asked over the years by people wanting to open business restaurants here, do we have a liquor license? And this has been held since 2014 unused. So my request, and thank you for being here tonight, is that it is conveyed to the owner of this license to please use it on behalf of our residents. It's a wonderful thing to get a liquor license. It's a wonderful opportunity to have a restaurant or a bar here. We want them. We want to build up our downtown. So I'm glad to hear that the ABC is approving all of this, and we hope to put this in good use for our downtown.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment, and that message will definitely get.
Hold.
I asked him a question though.
There's a time for public comment before we vote on the resolutions. That's when we'll deal with it, right?
Well, sometimes during our discussions on the resolution, we get information,
Sometimes
so.
this is not going to be one of those times
Well,
because really it was more of a comment on your part, welcoming the filing of the license and using it. I will welcome at the next public comment, which is before we vote on these resolutions. If you want to ask then, that would.
I'm not going to make Jimmy stay
That would
for
be the
another 2
appropriate
hours,
time.
but thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else who has any comments on resolutions or questions of
I have a question.
council or members of our administrative staff?
So, Council President, my question has to do with, I just want to make sure I'm not missing it in these resolutions, if there's something I should know regarding that issue in front of the nail salon and moving the barricades, and I wasn't sure if that was something that was being followed up on tonight, or did I?
It's not in the consent agenda. It is on your regular meeting agenda under new business.
Oh, all right.
No, I saw it so.
I was like, yeah, I was getting confused.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's under new business.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Then we will be holding tonight the regular meeting, a public hearing on the local municipal budget for 2022. Is there anything anybody wishes to say prior to that hearing?
Just thank you, Susan, and her entire office.
Not only to Susan and her office, but to all the borough employees who showed up for all the hearings, to the governing body, which spent countless hours on this. All right. Does anybody have anything for the good of the order? Nothing for the good of the order. Is there any old business anybody wishes to bring up? Oh, that may be a record that we're going to adjourn to the regular meeting in council chambers. I don't think we need 5-minute break. Is there anybody who? No. Excellent. All right. I need a motion, yep, to adjourn the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Same state. Okay, same state. All right, welcome to the regular meeting of the mayor and council for Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Salute to the flag. Omar, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Dayton,
Here.
Councilmember Grossman,
Here.
Councilmember Menon,
Here.
Councilmember Michaels, Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Here.
Councilmember Park,
Here.
Mayor Zena.
So there are no revisions to the agenda? Excellent. Now, audience members wishing to speak will have a 3-minute time limit to address the governing body. Large groups are asked to have a spokesperson represent them. Do we have anybody who wishes to address the governing body, members of the town?
If anybody on WebEx would like to speak, please speak now. Okay, there's no public comments, Council President.
Seeing none, hearing none. Public comments are closed. Let's move on to the consent agenda. Before we have a motion, is there anything that anybody wishes to discuss on the consent agenda at this time? In the
There are
committee?
Request to remove any item for separate consideration.
Okay, excellent. So, would someone like to make a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Right. This one requires a roll call. So, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dayton,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
All right, we are opening up the public hearings on the local municipal budget for 2022. And are there any public comments on the amendment of the 2022 local municipal budget? Any public comments? Anybody weighing in?
Anybody on WebEx, can you please speak now to make a public comment on the budget? Comments? No comments, Council President?
All right. So I need a council member to make the motion to adopt. Councilmember Dayton.
I move to adopt R22-230, which is the adoption of the 2022 local municipal budget.
Second.
Right. Before we call the roll, I just want to reiterate, number one, appreciation for all the work that went into it. And number two, to explain, just so everyone's clear, why I will be voting no. And I will be voting no simply because we got $1.5 million from the federal government, which was a nice gift. We went to the maximum of taking out of our surplus. We also have roughly $70,000 more that we got in property tax last year than the year before it. And despite all that, we still did not do the red pen treatment, which I kept exhorting, and our taxes are going up somewhere around 3%, which, given all of those other factors, to me, means we failed. And that's a shame, because we did work hard and everyone, and I just want to explain my vote. Everybody else, you vote your conscience, and you all worked hard on it as we all did. So with that, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dayton,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
No.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
We have a municipal budget for 2022. Okay, that brings us to committee reports. Councilmember Park,
No report.
you're really trying to have us out of here in record time. Huh?
It's summer, I didn't have any meetings.
Councilmember Dayton,
I want to thank the Nature Center. They did Tenafly Nature Day on June 12th, and they had a great crowd come out and enjoy Fister's Pond and the Nature Center. So thank you to Deborah Davidson and all of the Nature Center crew. I also want to thank the Welcoming Committee, who has been holding events and gearing up for all of our new residents throughout the year. They work tirelessly, and I think that their events hopefully will be better attended as we go forward after the pandemic. Everything else, is just smooth sailing. We've already heard about our Senior Services Committee. We are very excited that we have found a wonderful replacement for our seniors and for their needs. And we still, clerk's office needs to work on the website, and that's everything.
thank you. Councilmember Menon.
Yeah, so the Board of Adjustment had a couple of meetings. I don't, at the moment, I don't have anything to report on that. But what I will say is that the Board of Adjustment is planning to have, they're not having in-person meetings for the next meeting or hybrid. They're just doing the online meetings. A decision they came to. As far as the senior center, they are off for the summer. They had their last meeting this past week, and basically summer is here. And they'll still have a couple of activities, and you can check on the senior center website on the Tenafly website. And they have things going on during the summer, but no more meetings.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Dr. O'Connor.
Yes, I have two committees I want to report out on, because some of the news is actually because I don't think we were able to do committee reports last meeting, so forgive me, I'm going back a little bit. So for the Board of Health, they had wanted the mayor to go back to promoting mask wearing in his weekly announcement, to just like make awareness of it because of some of those upsurges that were happening with COVID, and just they wanted that convey that people should be, conscious to wear masks when they're in indoor situations. Upon learning about the SGARs, they also had wanted an ordinance to increase enforcement for open dumpsters, which it turns out we were able to do this evening. For the Environmental Commission, I was getting questions about our lack of electric vehicle charging infrastructure in town, but it looks like then that's on its way. Wendy, just a super quick question for you. Sorry to interrupt. It was just, do you have a time frame I might be able to relay back to the Environmental Commission on the RFP that you're working toward?
Probably before the end of next week.
Oh, okay, excellent. Because I want to return that as a question from them. Also, so back at the April, our trash-a-thon that we did, we had collected, and I wanted to make this like known, we collected 250 pounds of garbage at the trash-a-thon. That's an inordinate amount of garbage. And it really just shows that we really need to have awareness of keeping our communities clean and what a success it was, but I'd love to find ways we can do more of it. Also, Whitney had learned that this is according to Mike Cassidy, that in our last tree planting batch, we had planted 40 trees from that tree fund that Councilman Menon was referring to. 40 trees got planted this last time in 34 locations in the town. And the last thing to report for our Environmental Commission is I'd like to encourage everyone to go to the website and read our newsletter, the town newsletter. In the town newsletter, you're going to see a very comprehensive article on how to start your own composting. And that's also been put on our website. Thank you to Omar. And we also had, you might have heard the mayor's announcement about being aware of spotted lanternflies, an invasive species. And that is also on our website because that's something we want people to be aware of, what those eggs look like. Just one last note about the composting is we're going to use the community night September 12th to do some more awareness raising for composting and hopefully have a nice program that we could relay to the town about people getting their own bins. So that's what I just wanted to relay to everybody from the two committees. Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Of
I totally
course.
forgot. Before the Green Team, Environmental Committee meeting, there was a Green Team meeting. The community garden outside has some wear and tear on the flower beds. And luckily, they got connected with the Boy Scouts, so they will be helping out with the repairs.
That's nice.
Fantastic. Boy Scouts have been contributing a record amount of things to this town. Really need to thank them. All right, for my reports, TVAC met, and in the month of May, since we're not finished with June, in May, they responded to 80 calls. So keep in mind that's almost 3 calls a day on average. Their response time average 8 minutes, and the time that they attend a call, 43 minutes. They are all over. Not only are they doing that, but they're also doing all the events that we've had. TVAC was at the Pride flag raising, the Pride parade. They were at the high school graduation. They were at the recreations, daytime 4th of July carnival. They were at the Tenafly Education Fund 5K run. They were there this past Saturday for the 4th of July concert and fireworks, which was held on June 25th, but we're calling it 4th of July fireworks. So they really are all over, and they are talking, and hopefully I'll be able to report more on this at the next meeting, but they are talking about starting a new initiative which would provide supplies to all public buildings and schools. And so they're just tireless. And my other report is that we did hold a very successful concert and fireworks this past Saturday. My personal thanks to the Tenafly Presents Committee, who helps put together the music, to DPW, who had everything beautifully set up, to all our emergency services, police, fire, TVAC, to this council for constant support, and most importantly, to all our borough employees who do so much behind the scenes. We had a panic early Saturday morning. There was a fire at the high school, and we weren't sure in terms of electric. We knew we were using generators, but the big problem is the field lights when we're at the end of the concert and you have 1,000, 2,000 people leaving the field. Didn't want that in the dark, and everyone chipped in. DPW, police, TVAC, fire, everybody chipped in and found every ounce of available lighting out there. And we had a safe egress out of the event. And then I will say that Divinity Rocks was an incredible performer. We have on July 5th coming up our kickoff to the regular Tuesday evenings, and we have a few Thursdays in there, Tuesday evening concerts with Brothers Comatose, despite the deadly sounding name. They are high energy, foot stomping bluegrass band out of California, the San Francisco area, and we're lucky they're in the Northeast touring, and we're able to grab them for the night. We're hoping the weather cooperates. Also, from the original schedule, we have added a local group of phenomenal jazz performers. They weren't originally scheduled, but July 14th come and hear Tomoko Ono with her all-star jazz quartet and featuring Purium Jin. So it's going to be some fantastic jazz music with an Asian influence, I've been told. So that's been added. That's it for my report. New business.
Wait, and also Council President Grossman, didn't you say you controlled the weather for Saturday night? That was what you also brought to?
I asked the committee to do that. I don't control it, but the committee did their part. All right, new business. We have R22-231, authorized selection of senior services coordinator. So do we need to discuss, or because we already had a preliminary discussion on this? Okay. Motion, Council Member Dayton, would you like to make a motion on this?
Absolutely. I move to adopt R22-231 to authorize the selection of a new senior services coordinator.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dayton,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
Excellent. And then we have Resolution 22-232, authorize use of public right-of-way for temporary outdoor dining, which includes 7 West. Do you want to give us the report on this?
If I may. So after speaking with a few of the businesses, police chief, DPW director, and also Borough Attorney Wendy, what we felt is maybe the most appropriate recommendation ultimately is for those who are interested in those restaurants who are interested in having the outdoor dining in the park, in their public right of way, in the parking spaces, for a couple of reasons. If they do limit it to one spot per establishment, this would put everyone on equal level, equal level playing field. It would be easier to also set up within the downtown for everyone in terms of not encroaching on their neighboring business. And we felt this would be most appropriate now also at this point in the, through the pandemic or end of the pandemic, that restrictions are pretty much no longer in effect. than at the time where, at the time originally, it was very, it was very different in terms of spacing, social distancing. And so at this point, this is the recommendation to be able to provide this without, with the least amount of, contention or issues among the businesses in the downtown, in comparison to the businesses who in establishments that wouldn't be able to be provided the same space in the public right away.
So I have a few questions. Okay, just making sure this is just applying for this year, right? This is
This application would expire November this year.
November 30th. Okay.
And then also can decide whether to next year relax regulations again or return to the requirements in the ordinance that you already have got.
Okay. And my other question was with your wording about taking up one space, is that truly the one space? It's not like half of one space to half of another space?
So there may be situations where the space is not fully directly only in front of one business. It'll still be the one space as marked.
Okay.
Yes, so you may have the half a space in front of your business and then not have the space that is on the other half line of your business if you're not a restaurant, to that effect. But I believe that's only on Washington that I think they line up a little bit, I'm sorry, on Railroad, on Washington, they line up a little bit better.
And so it's really where the car would park
Line to line.
is where we're talking. Okay.
And as it works out with the applications that were received to date, many are consecutive, so it also functions quite well with the police department's recommendation not to have one on, one off, one on, one off.
Oh,
It seemed to work.
Yeah, and again,
what about the elephant in the room of the issue, the particular place that?
so, yeah, so to what Wendy had just stated, because right now, if the one recommendation would have been to, ultimately, what they were seeking was to create one parking space between barriers, which is a safety issue, rather than what's currently there was two parking spaces between barriers in front of those establishments or on Railroad. So going through this and back and forth and speaking with the businesses and, and speaking with the police chief and Wendy, again, if we were to remove one barrier at one particular location, it would cause contention throughout the businesses in the downtown in terms of why do they get X amount, though they get X amount. So we felt this would be appropriate to put everyone on an equal level setting, playing field, so that it's just one per establishment if they wish to do so. And this would alleviate those concerns. We could move those spaces a little bit. It would have a lot more leniency and discretion to be able to move those spaces to alleviate those kind of issues and be more in storefronts or be able to alleviate any of the parking concerns or public safety concerns.
And it will spot up in front of the one business.
It would.
Set that customers for
Egress.
that.
And it would, and it would return a number of spaces in general.
In your discussions, did you do consulting with businesses as well, or that didn't really, not with the amount of people, like I know you said the chief and
Jimmy actually did, with the original applications that came in, some businesses did ask for 2 spots. Jimmy did speak with some of the neighboring to get an idea of how they feel when the contemplation was whether to give what was requested. But as more applications came in, it became evident that the fairest way to do it is 1 spot. In order to configure it in the way that does not block some businesses, but blocks up the 1 spot works.
okay.
There may be some grumblings, but it's but it's if with changes, because like you said, to the one establishment, if a change were to be made there without a change as a whole to be equal and equitable to everyone, it wouldn't be advised. I wouldn't recommend going that route.
But not only that, there were spaces that were being taken up on Railroad previously. Now there's only going to be 2. So it may cover the one business in between 2 restaurants because the 2 will be next to each other, but there'll be substantially more parking on the street altogether because now 2 more spaces are freed up in an area where there was only like 6.
Thank you. And thanks for the hard work. I appreciate it. But if we were to vote on this tonight, then when did the barricades get moved? Because I know they already were put there kind of a number of weeks ago, right? So,
Yeah, so right now I would, if this recommendation were to be approved tonight, my next steps would be coordinating with the businesses to inform them because they're, of the change and understand from them which spot they would like, the ones that have more than one spot, and then also, also considering all the other safety factors. So I would go from there and coordinate with them and then also Public Works to be able to pick a date, give them enough time, I would imagine end of next week or so, depending on the holiday schedule and everyone's vacation schedule with staffing, and then my ability also in timing to be able to go out and speak with the businesses to inform them and be able to ensure that, to accommodate their needs as best we can within the scope of what is being proposed tonight.
Also like to note for the council that these permit approvals that are before you tonight are the complete applications received to date. There are other businesses that have previously had barricades in front of them that did not submit applications. So they also will have to be notified to remove their items because those barricades would be coming down.
Yep.
And there's also one more business that submitted, however, they're not currently in compliance with other zoning codes, so they don't qualify. So that's why that application has not come before you as part of this. Because they have to be in compliance with all other borough codes before they can qualify for the relaxed outdoor permit.
If I may elaborate to provide some additional details, one business, of all the business, I believe there's 10 or so that have the barricades now. One isn't interested in using them anymore, so that's simple. One had submitted today, so that will be proposed or be considered at the next council meeting, but I'll inform them of, again, the potential consideration of what's being proposed tonight, if that were to go through, correct, to see if the businesses have a change of heart or not.
To that, just so I can think about the concerts. There is a business near Hyler Park that has a substantial number of spots taken. Have we received an application from them?
That is the one location
Okay.
that the council I just was referring to.
Okay.
In terms of timing and steps forward, I don't know if, I'm not sure exactly how that we would proceed. I would lean on council, but also not sure if that discussion is appropriate at this venue.
Yeah, just wanted to see if that impacts still. All right.
Jimmy?
Yes.
What is happening with the tent at Angelique? Wait, I'm sorry, did I just miss that answer?
Yes.
No.
Well, I asked that in a different way.
yeah, he asked in a different spot.
So,
I was asking about if we received an application from a business where we have concerts and
By
Piedmont
Highland Park.
and set up the showmobile.
well, I know that the businesses along Railroad have repeatedly asked me that they should go to umbrellas and tables. And is that possible?
The answer, if it's possible, the short answer is yes.
Yes, of course it's possible, and it's been requested, and because they're not in compliance with your zoning ordinance and your code enforcement, they don't qualify to have temporary outdoor dining permit, which is why that application has not come before you yet.
Got it. Now it all makes sense. Thank you.
Next time, Williams.
Sorry.
That is coming from the next.
It's separate business.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to coordinate with council to see next steps, because
You're the property owner.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Umbrellas would be lovely there. But they still need shade. If and when they make an application.
There's a whole discussion there that's outside what we could probably go into even tonight.
That's Peter, not me.
All right. Does anybody have any other comments on 22-232? Questions, comments? Yes.
And just a general comment. I'm sure I'm going to be in the minority, but I don't believe that we should be authorizing any of the parking spots for for the businesses. I think, sidewalk seating at the moment is fine. We didn't, they have the benefit of indoor dining, full indoor dining without any restrictions. They have the ability to apply for sidewalk seating if they'd like. I think this is unnecessary given the current circumstances. Understood that the state has extended outdoor dining, but I don't believe that we should. So I'm voting no, but I'm sure I'll be in the minority.
I just want to reiterate that the businesses on railroads, some of them are smaller in stature. Some of them that are extending past their footprint doesn't even take up parking spot. I just want to be very conscious of that. We did this not only for our businesses, but also for our residents to enjoy outdoor seating. So let's not forget, like, just giving them a table or two, it also limits our residents' ability all summer to enjoy that opportunity. Just putting it out
Also
there.
not in the restaurant business, so.
Thank you. I'm not in the restaurant business, but I am in the business of protecting our residents who very, very strongly like the outdoor seating.
Again, we're not in the restaurant business.
One more.
All right, yes.
So while we're, being conscientious of our residents, I also know that when we return to November, or when we get to November, and we don't renew this, or if we don't renew it, this is not a permanent benefit that we're giving to our residents, and it shouldn't be looked at that way. We all care about our residents, and but there are different ways to handle that.
I don't think
Thank you.
anybody's going to eat outside in the dead of winter, but since we are able to do it for the summer, I can't wait to vote this up.
All right, any other comments?
We need to vote on it.
We need a motion.
So moved.
Second,
All right, Omar, please call the roll.
Councilmember Dayton,
yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
No.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes, but did we read this? I moved to adopt. I didn't hear anybody do that.
Did we do that, sir?
You did it?
no, it's okay. Yeah, it's still a motion.
Still a motion.
Councilmember Park,
Oh, yes.
Right. Has been adopted. Introduction of an ordinance, so. The first thing we need is a motion, right? Move to introduce on first reading. This is the CSX lease 22-16. Councilmember Dr. O'Connor.
I move to introduce on first reading ordinance 22-16 and set the hearing for July 18th, 2022 at 8 o'clock or as soon thereafter.
Second.
Omar.
So clerk, please read the title of the ordinance and conduct the roll call.
sure. This is ordinance number 22-16. It's an ordinance authorizing a lease agreement with Consolidated Rail Corporation. Councilmember Dayton,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
I know oftentimes the mayor skips the mayor's remarks. I actually am going to take the opportunity to, because I wish there were more people listening. This weekend is the 4th of July, is the 246th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, a document that we know as we look backwards had a lot of shortcomings. It gave rights to men, not women, any reference to slavery was edited out of it. It basically was giving rights to white men, and not even all those white men who own property. Over time, some of that has changed. I think the Declaration of Sentiments, which our own Susan B. Anthony helped draft, which changed it to, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women, was Elizabeth K. Stanton. Susan B. Anthony, because she actually wrote it. They did together. Elizabeth K. Stanton and Susan B. Anthony both drafted that, giving rights to women. The Civil War was fought so that there would be no more slavery. The problem is, here we are 246 years later, and rights are still not only not given to everyone, but being taken away. It is our duty as citizens in a democracy, if we want to keep it, to vote. To vote so that we can elect people who will ensure that rights are maintained and not taken away. In light of some recent decisions, I won't go into the details, I'm sure everybody's heard them. Rights are constantly under attack. Our founders understood very clearly not to trust the public, which is interesting. When you look at the three branches of government, the president was and still is chosen by the Electoral College. We've had two presidents since the year 2000 who lost the popular vote and became president from the Electoral College. The Senate was chosen by state legislatures, not popularly elected. The Supreme Court chosen by that unelected, popularly elected president and unpopularly elected Senate, leaving only the House of Representatives to be chosen by the people. Some of this has changed, but not much. So this is a midterm election coming up. Vote as if your life and the lives of many other people depend upon it, because they do. And more importantly, reach out to your friends who may live in other states. Encourage them to vote. Without that, I would hate to see the further erosion of rights, and those are my comments. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, have a good evening.
Thank you.